Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, your ultimate destination for spine-chilling tales, heart-pounding adventures, and undead mysteries that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Dive into a world where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and every story brings a new twist to the zombie apocalypse. Whether you're a horror enthusiast or just love a good thriller, our channel is here to deliver stories that haunt your imagination. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and press the bell icon to stay updated with our latest uploads. Share these gripping tales with your friends and spread the fear. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment to let us know what you think and how we can make the Zombie Story Zone even better. Your feedback fuels our creativity. Let's survive the apocalypse together, one story at a time.
Adventure never grows old. Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where the tales of the undead are widely known. Trying to hunt, uncover the fright in the Zombie Story Zone.
The village of Black Hollow was a place forgotten by time, nestled deep within a dense forest that seemed to swallow any light that dared to penetrate its canopy. The villagers were a superstitious lot, whispering of curses and dark magic that had plagued their home for generations. No one dared to venture into the woods after sundown, for it was said that the dead walked among the trees, their hollow eyes searching for the living. Amara had always been different. While the other villagers cowered in fear, she was drawn to the mysteries of the forest. Her parents had died when she was young, leaving her in the care of her grandmother, who often spoke of a time when the village was vibrant and full of life. But that was before the curse. The curse, as the villagers called it, had begun decades ago when a traveler passing through Black Hollow had been accused of witchcraft. In their fear and anger, the villagers had burned her at the stake. With her dying breath, she had cursed the village, vowing that the dead would rise and claim the living. Amara had always dismissed the stories as mere folklore, but lately, strange things had been happening. Livestock had gone missing, and eerie howls echoed through the night. The villagers whispered that the curse was awakening once more. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Amara stood at the edge of the forest, her heart pounding in her chest. She had always been told to stay away, but something inside her urged her to step forward. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, and the trees seemed to close in around her as she ventured deeper into the woods. It wasn't long before she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. In the center stood a figure, his back turned to her. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a tattered coat that hung loosely from his frame. Amara's breath caught in her throat as he turned to face her. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and his eyes glowed with an unnatural light. But it was his expression that stopped her cold. There was a sadness in his gaze, a longing that tugged at her heart. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice low and gravelly. Amara took a step back, her instinct screaming at her to run. But something about him held her in place. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "My name is Elias," he replied. "And I am one of the cursed." Amara's mind raced. Elias, the name was familiar. Her grandmother had spoken of him once, a young man who had disappeared into the forest years ago, never to be seen again. You're one of the dead," she whispered. Elias nodded, his expression grim. "The curse binds us to this forest, trapping us between life and death. We are neither alive nor truly dead, doomed to wander these woods for eternity." Amara's heart ached for him. Despite his terrifying appearance, she could see the pain in his eyes, the loneliness that mirrored her own. "Is there no way to break the curse?" she asked. Elias hesitated, his gaze flickering to the shadows that surrounded them. "There is a way," he said slowly. "But it is dangerous. The curse can only be broken if someone willingly takes our place, offering their life to free us." Amara's breath hitched. The thought of sacrificing herself was terrifying, but the idea of leaving Elias and the others trapped in this endless torment was unbearable. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady, despite the fear that coursed through her veins. Elias's eyes widened in shock. "You don't know what you're saying," he said, stepping closer. "This is no simple death. You would be bound to this forest, just as we are. There would be no escape. Amara met his gaze, her resolve unwavering. I can't leave you like this, she said. If there's a chance to free you, I have to take it. For a moment, Elias said nothing. Then, to her surprise, he reached out and gently cupped her face in his hand. His touch was cold, but there was a tenderness in his gesture that made her heart skip a beat. You are brave, he said softly. Braver than anyone I've ever known. But I cannot let you do this. Before Amara could protest, a guttural growl echoed through the clearing. Elias's head snapped up, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the darkness. They're coming, he said, his voice urgent. You need to leave. Now. Amara shook her head. I'm not leaving you. Elias's expression hardened. You don't understand. The others, they're not like me. They've lost themselves to the curse. If they find you, they'll tear you apart. As if on cue, figures began to emerge from the shadows, zombies, their bodies twisted and decayed, their eyes vacant and hungry. Amara's stomach churned as they shuffled closer, their gnarled hands reaching out for her. Elias stepped in front of her, his body tense. Run, he said, his voice low and commanding. But Amara stood her ground, her heart pounding in her chest. She couldn't leave him, not like this. The zombies lunged, and Elias met them head-on, his movements swift and precise, despite his undead state. Amara watched in horror as he fought to protect her, his strength fading with each passing moment. Elias, she cried, her voice breaking. He turned to her, his eyes filled with a mixture of pain and determination. Go, he said. Please. Tears streamed down Amara's face as she finally turned and ran, the sounds of the battle fading behind her. She didn't stop until she reached the edge of the forest, her chest heaving as she collapsed to her knees. The village was silent, the only sound the distant howl of the wind. Amara's heart ached as she thought of Elias, alone in the forest, fighting to protect her. She couldn't leave him like this. She had to find a way to break the curse. Over the next few days, Amara pored over her grandmother's old books, searching for any information that could help her. She learned that the curse could only be broken by a sacrifice made out of pure love, a love strong enough to transcend life and death. Amara knew what she had to do. That night, she returned to the forest, her heart heavy but resolute. She found Elias in the clearing, his body battered and broken. He looked up as she approached, his eyes filled with sorrow. I told you to stay away, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Amara knelt beside him, her hand trembling as she reached out to touch his face. I couldn't leave you, she said. I love you, Elias. And I'm going to set you free. Elias's eyes widened in shock, but before he could protest, Amara leaned in and pressed her lips to his. As she did, she felt a surge of energy pass between them, a warmth that spread through her body and into his. The forest seemed to hold its breath as the curse began to unravel. The zombies that had once lurked in the shadows crumbled to dust, their souls finally at peace. The tree swayed as if in relief, and the air grew lighter, the oppressive weight of the curse lifting. Elias's body began to change, his pale skin regaining its color, his eyes losing their unnatural glow. He looked at Amara in awe, his hand reaching up to cup her face. You did it, he whispered. Amara smiled, tears streaming down her face. I told you I would. But as the curse lifted, Amara felt a strange sensation wash over her. Her body grew cold, and her vision began to blur. She looked down at her hands, watching in horror as they began to fade. Amara? Elias's voice was filled with panic as he reached for her, but his hands passed through her like smoke. I think I took your place, she said, her voice barely audible. Elias's eyes filled with tears as he realized what had happened. No, he said, his voice breaking. No, this can't be happening. Amara tried to smile, but her body was fading fast. It's okay, she said. I did it for you. I love you, Elias. And with those final words, Amara vanished, her soul bound to the forest, just as Elias's had been. Elias fell to his knees, his heart shattered. He had been freed, but at what cost? The woman he loved was gone, her sacrifice a testament to the power of love. As the first rays of dawn broke through the trees, Elias stood, his resolve hardening. He would find a way to bring her back, no matter the cost. For love was stronger than any curse, and he would not rest until Amara was by his side once more. Years passed, and Elias became a recluse, spending his days searching for a way to break the new curse that bound Amara to the forest. One fateful night, as he wandered the woods, he stumbled upon an ancient altar hidden deep within the trees. Carved into the stone were symbols that matched those in Amara's grandmother's books. Desperate, Elias performed the ritual described, offering his own life force in exchange for Amara's freedom. As the final incantation left his lips, the forest trembled, and a blinding light enveloped him. When the light faded, Elias found himself standing in the clearing where he had first met Amara. But something was different. The air was warm, the trees vibrant and alive. And there, standing before him, was Amara, her body solid, her eyes filled with life. "Elias," she whispered, her voice trembling. He rushed to her, pulling her into his arms. "Amara," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "You're free." But as they embraced, a chilling realization dawned on Elias. The forest around them was no longer the cursed woods of Black Hollow. It was a different place entirely, a place where the dead walked freely, and the living were the intruders. Amara pulled back, her eyes wide with fear. "Elias," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What have you done?" Elias looked around, his heart sinking as he realized the truth. In his desperation to save Amara, he had not broken the curse, he had transported them to a realm where the curse was eternal. They were trapped, not in the forest of Black Hollow, but in a nightmarish world where the dead ruled, and the living were hunted. As the shadows closed in around them, Elias tightened his grip on Amara's hand. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice filled with regret. "I thought I was saving you." Amara shook her head, her eyes filled with determination. "We'll find a way," she said. "Together." And as the zombies emerged from the darkness, their hollow eyes fixed on the two lovers, Elias and Amara stood side by side, ready to face whatever horrors awaited them. For even in the face of eternal darkness, their love would endure, a beacon of hope in a world consumed by despair.